Hi, how are y'all doing? Welcome back to Casey's Take. We've got plenty of stuff to go over today, including the Braves still sputtering a little bit. We're going to talk Joe Milton. I've been watching too many Tennessee football highlights, so I feel like I need to get some stuff off my chest about Joe Milton. Of course, watching the highlights isn't anything new. We're all sitting here waiting for football season to start. Doesn't matter who you're a fan of, but we're going to talk Joe Milton. We're going to talk a little bit more football with I'm growing this weird, cautious optimism for the Titans, and I don't really know how to deal with it right now because I've told all of you for the past few months, basically since they lost that last regular season game last year, I've been barking and complaining about the Titans, but we're going to talk about them and a little bit of, like I said, optimism, cautious optimism about them. And then, of course, we're going to end off with high school sports because, like I said, we do have football season right around the corner and a few other sports about to kick off. So let's go ahead and get the show started. We're going to get into the first take. Braves still sputtering. Last night, Spencer Strider went almost 7 innings, struck out 9, only gave up 1 run. He still looks like a very, very good pitcher, but he hasn't been necessarily at the exact top of his game the last few starts. But Strider's not really the guy I'm worried about. Of course, Morton went out on what was it, Monday, and he had not the best start, but he Morton didn't pitch too bad, just couldn't get any offense. But the Braves are just, I guess it's one of those things where you're kind of spoiled as a fan, and of course, you know that month of July that they had was just phenomenal, and end of June and all that. And I think that if you try to measure your success to that part of the year, then it's not going to look like you're doing a whole lot, right? But I think we all know that the Atlanta Braves are still a really good team. They just haven't necessarily played the last few weeks like they had played the few weeks before that. I know that I put that they're sputtering, but I mean, what are they, like 5-5 in their last 10 games? Look, I would look it up, but it's going to take me forever to do that. Yeah, I can't even. 6-4 in their last 10. So it's not bad. They still got a 10-game lead in the National League East. I'm just happy that the playoffs don't end today because, like I said, I just don't necessarily feel like they're playing the best that they can. Max Fried's return is right around the corner, so I can't imagine. I understand why Anthopoulos didn't go out and get a pitcher, at least a super inexpensive one anyway, or one that would have been hard to go get because. They're hoping Kyle Wright can be back before the end of the regular season. I'm not a doctor, and I don't know nearly as much about it, but I'm not as optimistic about that as most other people just because, Kyle Wright's he's younger than me. I mean, we're talking about a kid here. There's no reason to rush him back. The Braves got 27 million different arms in the minor league system. They can find somebody to come up and pitch. That's what they've been doing. So I'm okay with not rushing Kyle Wright back to make sure that he can play the rest of his career better than just, a few starts this year. But Max Fried is right around the corner. I still think that, Mike Soroka's ERA was like 5.5 or 6 whenever he got sent back to the minor leagues. But I'd still love to see Mike possibly get another chance. I hate the fact that Colby Aller got hurt, but either way, I think the Braves still have plenty of arms. I don't think this year's pitching is the best that they've had in a long time, but I think they're going to be okay on the pitching end. I think we all know that where this Atlanta Braves team is different and where their historical maybe even is on the offensive side. And offensively, Monday's game against the Angels, Chase Silseth, I believe was his name. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I have no idea how to say his name, but got to give him a lot of credit. Kid pitched really well. I just now noticed that I don't have my my light on. That way you can see my ugly mug even better. But you have to give Chase Silseth, or how do you say his name? You have to give him a lot of credit because he pitched really, really well, and so did the guys that came out of the pen. They just did a really good job. But other than that, Braves offense has been okay. I'm not necessarily worried. I just think it's okay to admit that this Braves team isn't necessarily playing as well as that June or July Braves team. So, or beginning of July Braves team. I'm glad that they didn't trade for Justin Verlander. I like Justin Verlander, and I would have liked to have him on my team. But if you go through and you look on social media and you look at some of the replies of Mets fans and what they expected for this elderly haul of this pitching staff that they have, and those guys are delusional. Speaking of delusional, I saw a Yankees fan that had them trading a wheelbarrow full of crap for Juan Soto and Josh Hader, and he thought that that was a legitimate trade proposal. But some people are just delusional, and most of the time, especially during the trade deadline. But I'm glad the Braves didn't do anything crazy. Went out and got some relievers because that is where they need some help. A.J. Minter also made his return to the bullpen, so that's actually really nice that Minter's back. I think he came in and he pitched a sequence against Ohtani on Monday night, and I'm pretty sure he gave up a single. But then again, Ohtani hits off of everybody. His OPS is like 4 billion or something by now. Ohtani is nuts. So, Braves have been walking him. Something else too before we go to the next take. One of the, I don't know which reporter it was, but one of the reporters asked Brian Snitker about the boos. It's whenever he decided to walk Ohtani, there were some boos coming from the crowd, and Snitker said, "I'd be mad at me too if I paid money to come see him." He said, "But we don't want to pitch to him." And of course, I paraphrased some of that. That's not exactly what he said, but they didn't want to pitch to him, and I don't blame them because Ohtani is as good as it gets right now. Ronald Acuna Jr. is my favorite player in the entire world, and there are obviously some things that each of them do that the other one can't. And, trying to sit here and measure them against each other is kind of ridiculous or pointless. But I think you could definitely make the case that Ohtani is one of the best players, if not the best player on all of planet Earth right now. So it's been fun to watch him. At least I got to see the game Monday night. I didn't get to see it last night. But it's been fun to watch Ohtani because over here in the South, we don't get to see him very often. So that's been fun. The Angels are pretty good. I have a really one other thing too. I just keep talking. Y'all know how this goes. It's my show. I'll just blah, blah, blah the whole time. Most of you have already clicked off the video by now anyway. But I think a buddy of mine who is he's a big Angels fan. We decided to make a small bet for this series. And, of course, that comes down to tonight. I'm pretty sure it's only a 3-game series. So it comes down to tonight. Whoever wins, or let me restart. Whoever loses has to buy the other a pack of baseball cards. I've gotten into baseball cards. I'll have to show you all my collection. I've got a few Ronald Acuna cards, and I've got some football cards too. But regardless, that's not the important part. We have decided we're going to buy each other a pack of cards, whoever loses the bet. So I think that's kind of fun. It comes down to tonight. The Angels played a great game on Monday night, got the win. Braves turned around and basically did the same thing last night. Michael Harris with 2 home runs. His average is back up. It's above 270. His OPS, I think, is now in the high 700s, maybe closer to – I mean, if he can get an OPS to 800 and a batting average of 280 after the injury and the really slow start this year, Michael Harris is going to be fine. I spent 10 minutes talking about the Braves. Let's go ahead and get to the second take. So what was my second take? I had it up. I was just looking at it. Joe Milton. So part of the reason why I wanted to bring this up, like I said, is I had the YouTube algorithm is scarily accurate sometimes, and I guess it knew that football season's right around the corner because it started showing Tennessee Volunteer highlights in front of me for no obvious reason the other day, and of course, you start watching highlights, you see some Hendon Hooker stuff, you see plenty of last year's stuff. I've watched that Kentucky game at least 13 times. That play where Jawan Mitchell catches the interception off of the bounce. I think it was Nico Slaughter who made the play at the point of the catch, and then Jawan Mitchell grabbed the interception. I think I've seen that play, no crap, at least 30 to 40, maybe 45, 50 times. I mean, I like watching fun athletic sports plays anyway, even if I don't care for the team. And when the team that I like just so happens to make a really cool play, it's actually fun to watch, and I will keep it on repeat. And that's more or less what I've done with the entirety of the Kentucky game because that was fun. But the other night I also watched some Orange Bowl highlights, and the cool part about the Orange Bowl was the fact that, of course, I hated that Hendon Hooker was hurt, but Joe Milton came into the game, and he started that game, the Orange Bowl, and he wasn't great. But he was pretty good. And the Vols in general were really good that game against Clemson. And I keep looking back and thinking about how going into that game, I think I had told everybody that I thought Clemson could win by a bunch of points. And I'm glad I was wrong. I'm glad I love Tennessee, and y'all know that. But I was a little bit worried about the defense with, some kids not playing. I was really worried about the offense with some kids not playing, but Milton did fine. He was not great, but he was good. Sorry, I'm yawning. I have no clue why. I've been up for 2 hours now. But like I said, I've been watching a few of the highlights. Joe Milton, the more I think about it, I hate to say this because I know I sound like a homer, but I really think Tennessee could have its first Heisman this year. And I'm not the only person that thinks that. I mean, go to FanDuel or DraftKings or any of those other sports books, and they'll show you that his odds are top 10, top 15 in the country to win the Heisman. So it's not a far-fetched idea. I mean, you've got a guy who is – some people have said he's got the strongest arm in the world. Now, whether or not that's true, it still tells you that he's got a really, really strong arm. But he's got an incredibly physically gifted athlete. You've got him on an offense that, whether or not you want to agree that it's gimmicky, it doesn't really matter. They put up a lot of points. They move the ball a lot. It looks good for stats. So I think, and here's the other thing too. If Hendon Hooker doesn't get hurt last year, I think he wins. And so Hendon Hooker has to stay healthy, not get hurt against South Carolina. It would help if Tennessee wins that game. Of course, the if, ands, or buts, all this other nonsense. But Hendon Hooker was really close to winning the Heisman last year. Joe Milton this year, I don't think it's out of line or crazy to say that Joe Milton's more physically gifted than Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker was mentally a lot more physically gifted than Joe. He was very accurate. He was accurate at points last year, but he usually made the right decision. Hendon Hooker made great decisions. He was always kind of ahead of the game. And that was Joe Milton's thing. Even in the Orange Bowl, he took a lot of sacks where, you're sitting there thinking, hey, Joe, just throw the ball. Just throw the ball. Out of all the times that you do throw it 5 row up into the stands and miss the receiver by 15 yards, here's your opportunity to do it. When you have 3 defensive linemen that are bigger than you and they're in your face, That's when you throw the ball away. But he'll figure that out. He's got people that are somewhere on that campus that are much better coaches than I. So I'm hoping they'll figure all that out, and I think they will. I think Joe will be okay. I don't believe he should be the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman. I obviously believe that's Caleb Williams. Bo Nix is another guy. Jordan Travis from Florida State, definitely a possibility there. There are a few guys that I think could win it, but I think Joe definitely deserves to be in that conversation because, like I said, physically he is as good than anyone else. He's just got a long way to go within the game. So I like Joe. If you like the big armed quarterbacks and you like Will Levis, you're gonna love Joe Milton. I know I keep saying that, but it is a selling point for me because Mel Kiper and these other guys. Mel Kiper specifically, I have an issue with because he talks to his audience as if they're stupid. And he tries to talk to them like he knows everything and he's never wrong, which couldn't be further from the truth. This whole scouting for football, like scouting in general and at the NFL level, is poorly misunderstood. Players at a very high rate are not scouted correctly, and they get drafted a lot higher than they should be. I think that's Mel Kiper's fault. I think a lot of this internet board draft stuff, I don't believe him to be near as intelligent as he thinks he is. But he stood in front of everybody and tried to explain to us why Will Levis was the greatest thing since sliced bread, even though it's obvious that he didn't watch any of those games. But if he gets up there and he starts doing the same thing for Joe Milton, it's going to be because he's riding the hype train just like everyone else. You got a big arm, strong quarterback that can run, which NFL teams love. I mean, even Anthony Richardson without a whole lot of stats and production over the last few years, he got thrown in the first round. I love Anthony Richardson's physical ability. I've told you people that. I think Will Levis has got a lot of physical ability. He's just not there, But hopefully Will Levis can figure it out. Just like Joe Milton. Hopefully Joe Milton can figure it out. And sooner rather than later. But we've got some more commercials that are going to come up. And then whenever we come back, I'm going to talk about my cautious optimism that I have for the Tennessee Titans. So just go watch the commercials just for a minute and then come on back. All right. Thank y'all.
Tired of hanging lights every year? We get it. That's why Southern Nights is here to help. We install programmable lighting on your home or business so you can enjoy beautiful, customizable lighting all year round. No more ladders, tangled lights, or cold nights outside. We do the work, you do the celebrating. Call Southern Nights today and take the hassle out of holiday lighting forever. For a free quote, give us a call at 931-241-3074 or visit our Facebook page at Southern Nights.
I'm so excited about this new show.
Dino Trek is back again this year. It's bigger than we've ever had it before.
When they're about 5 months old, we'll start seeing them sticking their head out of the pouch, or you might see a foot come out or a tail.
It's like an Airbnb for Joey's. Now, you're not going to see all three of them together because cats in general don't get along unless it's time to get along, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Lions and tigers and bears.
Oh,
yeah.
my.
Well, we're 2/3 of the way there. Animals, nature, and fun. That's what we're all about. But during that time, we hope that you also learn something, that you're inspired to want to learn something.
What's new at the zoo with Jim Bartu.
love that zoo commercial. I'm just going to tell y'all something right now. They letting the kids get way too close to that kangaroo. I don't know if y'all ever seen a video of a kangaroo fighting, but those things are mean. Ain't no way I'm letting little Timmy or little Johnny hang out, try to pet a kangaroo. Y'all done lost your mind. Other than that, I love the zoo. I say that. I don't like going outside. It's hot. But I think the zoo is a pretty cool, especially what they're doing with the dino track, I believe is what Jim Bartu said. So y'all go check that out. It'd be a great time for the kids. Keep them away from them kangaroos. My God, those things are deadly. Also, side note, if you get a few free moments, maybe you're at work today, you go to sit on the john or something, go ahead and get out your phone, go to your TikTok and look up videos of both kangaroos and giraffes fighting. It will be the most entertaining thing that you watch today. If you've never seen a giraffe fight, this is the best. This is the best you're going to get all day long. Please watch a video of a giraffe fighting. I haven't even thought about the mental image of two giraffes fighting in a long time. But then, of course, that one popped up on the screen. So y'all go check out the zoo. Watch a video of giraffes fighting because it's cool. But we're going to go ahead and get into the third take. I have developed, that's a good word. I have developed a small amount of cautious optimism for the Tennessee Titans. And I'll tell you why. Because I surround myself with people, not on purpose, but I surround myself with people that don't necessarily care for the Titans. Whether they be Colts fans, Cowboys fans. Of course, with the Titans being one of the newer franchises or newer teams, I guess, of course, they've only been here since the 90s, like me. So, excuse me. But since they weren't here before the 90s, there are a lot of people that are older than me who happen to be fans of other teams, which makes a lot of sense. You don't have a team here. If the Titans didn't exist, I don't know who I'd be a fan of. Probably the Raiders, and that's just because I'm a glutton for punishment. But regardless, I have grown or developed, like I said, develop's a better word for this. I've developed some cautious optimism because all these fans of other teams that I am around a lot, they continue to tell me how much they like the Titans, and they continue to tell me how they think, if they can get some blocking, Tannehill can be good, and all these other things. Yeah, if they get some blocking, you get. You get. Look at the Cowboys. What was it, like 8 years ago now, when Dak and Zeke were both I almost called them freshmen. When Dak and Zeke were both rookies, they had an offensive line that allowed you to run an offense with rookies everywhere because of how good they were. Dak Prescott didn't have to be great. Zeke Elliott, you could lean on him as a young running back. The offensive line is a big deal, and I'm not saying that like it's some news or something. I'm not saying it like it's something new that we've never heard of. We all know that the offensive line is important. It doesn't matter what level of football you're playing at, and we also know that the Titans' offensive line is doo-doo, or it was last year. That's where I stand with this team. Yes, DeAndre Hopkins is one of the most physically gifted wide receivers I've ever seen in this entire football game. Derrick Henry is the most physically imposing running back I've ever seen in this game. I didn't get to watch Jim Brown, but Derrick Henry is my favorite NFL player probably of all time. And I don't know. I really liked Chris Johnson, but the Titans definitely have some pieces to the puzzle. I love Jeffrey Simmons. Kevin Byard's a great football player. I can sit here and talk for the next 5 minutes of my show about all the great players that the Titans have. The issue is where I can't name off the greatness of the Titans players is where it could be an issue. So, again, the offensive line, it kind of scares me. Defense, I think the defense is going to be top 10 in the league, probably somewhere around 8 to 9. They're not going to be one of the best defenses in the league, but they're going to be good. They're going to have to be good because I still don't feel like this offensive line can block. But if for some reason the Titans show up in the preseason and the regular season and their offensive line is one of the top 10 offensive lines in all of football, Titans are going to the playoffs. I'll tell you right now, if the offensive line, I would bet money on it. I'd guarantee you if the offensive line for the Tennessee Titans is a top 10 offensive line, I guarantee you the Titans are in the playoffs. Because the rest of the division, in my opinion, not so humble opinion, is not very good. The Colts will be good in a few years, especially if they trade Jonathan Taylor and get anything out of it. The Texans could be good. Colts could be good. Jaguars should be good, but until they actually win without the NFL's help, that last game was kind of screwy. I'm glad the Titans didn't get in, but the Jaguars weren't very good either. I don't think the Jaguars are good. They could be. Same thing with the Titans. I think the Titans could be, but I don't think they're necessarily all that great. But if the offensive line is good, Titans are in the playoffs. They're still going to get ran through in the playoffs. They're not going to beat the Bengals with a healthy Joe Burrow. You're not going to beat the Chiefs with a healthy Pat Mahomes. Think of all the other great Josh Allen, Buffalo, even Herbert. I almost said San Diego. I wonder how big of a deal that is. But regardless, Titans, if they can block, they'll be good. We got 3 minutes left. We're going to talk high school sports real quick. Dickson County had a preseason match against Hume Fogg last night at Dickson County soccer. Of course, we're going to have some football this Friday. Creekwood's having their booster barbecue. Dixon's having their booster. I don't know if it's barbecue, but they are having their booster event. There will be food there as well. You can get a ticket for $8. You can get in. You can see the game at Dickson for $8. You get your food for $8. That's crazy. You can't go to McDonald's and get a number one for $8. So plenty of football to go watch this weekend. What is today? Wednesday. Okay. It's church night, so not a whole lot going on tonight. You may be able to find something. I know there are a lot of teams practicing for football. Volleyball is also right around the corner. I guess I need to start getting some schedules for that too. God, I'm trying to get caught up. I promise I'm trying to get caught up. And I'm not necessarily behind right now, but I just don't have everything I need going forward. But I got to get all that stuff done. Over in Cheatham, I want to say Sycamore's at Good Pasture. Cheatham County Central's at Northwest on Friday. It's either Northeast or Northwest, but they're in Clarksville on Friday for a scrimmage. And then Harpeth is going to be at home. Bill Clark's going to be out at Harpeth. Surprise. Bill Clark's going to be out at Harpeth to catch the Harpeth game. So that'll be great. I'm hoping to hear back from the coach. We're going to have a Cheatham County Central soccer season preview, so I'd love to have that done. Speaking of Bill Clark, he keeps texting me. He's talking about God knows what. So I have to text him back here in a minute. But got a lot of football still coming up. I believe that's it. Golf is right around the corner too. There's a lot coming up. School just started yesterday. So good luck to all the kids that are in school. We only got a minute left. I wanted to say that. Good luck to all the kids in school. Good luck. Any of you teachers out there that are watching, any of you, if you work in the school system, good luck. I know it can be a lot. It can be overwhelming. A few more weeks of summer would have been okay with me too, but we all got to go back at some point. So y'all have a wonderful evening. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I do want to announce one thing real quick. I am going to have a high school football show. I think they were thinking about getting rid of this show, but I might keep this one as well, just so I have something I can scream at the camera for 30 minutes. But my 30 minutes is up today. So y'all be on the lookout for some details of my show coming up. Thank y'all and have a good evening.